Welcome back, Syndicate members. It is I, Joshua, back once again with another independent comic book review. With me again is the beautiful Rachel. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great today. Obviously, you're doing pretty good.
Well, we didn't post last week because we were on vacation.
We did. We actually took a vacation. It was awesome.
And we have a memento to show everyone.
Dun, dun, dun.
We went and visited Robert the Doll in Key West.
He was awesome. We had so much fun.
Actually, he was in a whole Civil War
Ford.
so that was interesting.
Yeah, we got to see that and tour it. It was amazing.
So that was a lot of fun. So we were there all week, and I guess you could tell because we're a little red.
A little red, yeah. We'll burn.
But yeah, Mother Mammoth and Brother Mammoth were down there. So we joined them and had a little mini reunion, I guess you could say.
Yeah, little family vacay. Beautiful.
But we are back, and we have a brand new book for you.
Yes, I'm excited about this one.
Not necessarily brand new for us, though, because we got this one a little while ago from Martin Piero of Cosmic Times. And this one's been on the back burner because we've done quite a few Cosmic Times stuff. Deep Space Tragedy comes to mind. The robot band, that was awesome. From Blood, that was a really good one. This one, though, is entitled Arthur, the Legend Continues.
Definitely different from the other ones we've seen, but equally awesome.
And it also says it's volume 2, so I'm assuming there's a volume 1 available. But when we got into this one, it gives you a little tells you what has been going on in 3 or 4 pages.
Yes. And
I think it's actually the way he did this was really good. So Martin actually wrote this biscuit. And let's see, I got the Carlos Tron.
Yes, he was the artist.
He was the artist. And
amazing work.
Yeah, I didn't actually know Martin had written this one until I actually started going through it. And I was like, wow, I can't wait to read this. So the first few pages basically sets you up of what's been going on. And it kind of looks like the news right now.
I was about to say, yeah, it looks like today's Times where there's just
political chaos, media, doing stuff.
Looks like worldwide, too.
Worldwide, yeah. And so it causes nations to go against other nations, which end up war, and then
of course, just
complete
destruction.
Yeah, complete destruction to the point where humans are almost wiped out of existence, and so they live in like small bands because I guess right after this happens, the Earth is like poisoned.
Right, like the water supply is not good, the air quality is even not very good, and you can tell that humans are barely hanging on at this point.
Yeah, because it almost makes them extinct.
Yeah.
Until finally the Earth had healed itself, and then they're able to kind of establish, like, I guess, small cities and stuff.
Yeah, and it does seem like this took generations to do, as it was
a very, very long time. But I do want to point out too that even though we see this city that it looks very peaceful, there's a lot of really bad people out there too.
Aren't there always?
So there's always a chance of being like. I guess they call them marauders in here.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Coming in and taking over stuff, which I guess happened to a lot of these villages. And so, what ended up happening though in this one particular area is a sword and stone.
Literally, like the old Arthur tale is the sword and the stone, and they built the city or the town, I guess, around it because they believed so much in the legend that someone one day was going to come back and
not just someone, but Arthur himself
was going to come back and kind of help the world.
They would know, when he takes the sword out, which he ended up doing when the town was being overrun with these marauder type guys.
Yes, but you should know that people were kind of giving up hope there for a minute.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they even elected a guy that didn't believe in the Arthur legend at all.
And they were about to move out. Like, let's get rid of this. We're done following the stone. Like, it's sword and stone. It just doesn't make sense anymore. He's not coming back, obviously. But then that's when they're about to get attacked, and luckily for them, that's when Arthur decides to show up.
And he doesn't have a lot of issues pulling the sword out.
No, and it was an awesome mini splash page they did of that too.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got a front and a back panel, and just him like holding the sword up.
Very epic.
That was really awesome.
It was great. But yeah, it just goes on, and then people are like, of course, oh wow, this is the king. This is all that we need to know at this point.
And that's what I like too, is because this was at the end of the setup where you see Arthur like towering over and he's got the sword, and then it goes to the actual credits of the comic.
Right.
And then we go into the actual story of this particular issue.
Yes, and it's labeled Chapter 4, Conviction of the Heart, I believe. But yeah, it goes in, and again, we're kind of back into the politics of it all, but now into the future, if you will, because it's, I think, 5,000 years in the future, it says.
It's pretty far.
Yeah.
But I will say, though, that this guy that they picked elected for mayor, what a goober. Like, this guy doesn't look like he could actually run a town.
Well, it doesn't look like he really cares.
He doesn't really, he's kind of aloof.
He really is. But yeah, so and I'm assuming his second in charge kind of comes, bursting through the doors to the mayor, and the mayor just looks like, oh, here we go, here's another one. What do we do now? And they kind of start arguing back and forth about what's going on.
And about Arthur specifically.
Right,
though.
exactly.
Because I guess, ever since he's come back, people pretty much have believed that he is the actual Arthur. Or at least people in this particular village. But the mayor's not exactly convinced.
He's just like, whatever, you want to do at this point. That's what is just so funny about him. He really just doesn't seem to care.
Well, I think he also knows that if he goes against Arthur, that kind of would make the people go against him. But at the same time, he's not really offering any help either.
No, he's not.
He's just kind of there.
But yeah, Arthur comes in with his little squad of guys, and then they start, talking to the two officials. But Arthur's not a very big fan of the second guy. He's like, you know what, I'm kind of done talking to you, and he just ends up talking to the mayor.
Well, because the guy is just a secretary, basically.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't really have any power. Like, not to mention the mayor's right there. Why are you going to talk to this clown?
This is true, but then the mayor's over there drinking a beer, so I mean, again, just over there and aloof as can be.
Well, we don't know what the water conditions are here, so maybe you have to drink beer because it has to be fermented because the water is still bad.
Yeah, keep telling yourself that. Okay. I think after that amount of time, the water's fine again if everything's growing like it is. But we'll see.
So Arthur has an idea of establishing more knights.
Yes.
To protect not only their village, but also the surrounding area to kind of lay down the law.
Yeah, because when he came in, he showed mercy to that marauder. And he was like, this is the way we have to do. There is law and order, and this is just what it has to be.
Well, yeah, because you can't just... First off, the marauder lifestyle is not a very good one. Because you're always on the run and you're always hunting constantly. At least the mayor guy, he's got a nice little setup here with his beard.
This is true. This is very true. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so then they go into town and we start meeting, which I'm assuming is one of Arthur's men, his girlfriend or wife or fiance.
I think it's his fiance, and she's kind of mad that they're not already married.
And starting their life, she's like, look, I didn't marry a warrior. I didn't want this. I wanted, just to, kind of chill and us live our little peaceful life. And you're over here trying to, start some kind of Knights of the Round Table, and I'm not about that.
Well, at the same time, though, these marauders are not going to stop. So I understand that she doesn't necessarily want him to, but there's not a lot of able-bodied men in this village. So
I agree.
Obviously, the ones that are available will have to step up. Mm-hmm. Plus, once they establish themselves, it's not going to continue forever.
Oh, I agree. I think she's being a little ridiculous, but we'll get more to that later.
So, Arthur overhears them talking about some type of celebration
Yes.
that they're throwing. And so Arthur asks, "Hey, is this for me?" And he's like, "Yeah, it is." And at first I was like, "Oh, he ain't gonna like this," but no, actually,
He's like, "A party? Let's do this."
Yeah, quite the opposite. Actually, he seemed pretty excited at the opportunity to get down a little bit.
Yes, but he was also telling him, like, hey, make sure you listen to your girl because love is really all that matters.
That's right. He did say that. Yeah,
so he was kind of backing up the girlfriend.
Yeah, so that was pretty good too, because that means that he doesn't want to come in and just start commanding people.
Right. He wants to actually lead them.
Yeah, and actually, make sure they also have good lives.
Yeah. But then all of a sudden we get this awesome half splash page of these weird looking vehicles. And I just was like amazed of what was going on next because I didn't know if they were trains or if they were actual vehicles.
So they had a couple of different types here. We had kind of like a castle tank.
Yeah.
Because it looked like a castle wall with tank treads, and there was some type of train engine.
I'm thinking they're running off of steam or something because they don't have gas.
And then there was another one that's being pulled by some oxen.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It
was awesome, but I was loving looking at the vehicles. But apparently, it's like a caravan of supplies almost, and they just kind of come around.
I actually love this concept too.
Yeah.
Because so these people, they go all around, and I guess that's how their whole business is trade,
selling goods,
and so that's why they have all these big, unique vehicles. Because obviously, if you got marauders out there on the roads, you got to have it beefed up. And so what? Actually, I think I think right before then they shoot a firework up, right? And Arthur's like, "Oh, what is that?" He's like, "Oh, that's the guys coming in to sell."
Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Oh, we got to go check this out. This is going to be awesome." So yeah, he goes and checks it out, and the people are there to greet him. But he's like, "No, I want to talk to the main guy, like your master guy." And they're like, "No, he doesn't want to be disturbed right now."
Yeah, because one of the guys that came with Arthur down there is like, "Hey, this meat looks pretty good, but I know you have better meat back there.
That's true, yeah.
You go back there and you tell your boss to bring the better stuff out." And all of them are basically saying no. He gave strict orders not
to be disturbed.
Yeah,
for anyone.
Well, Arthur's kind of an ass in this respect.
He starts yelling out, like, "Come on, guy!" I can't remember what the guy's name is, but he's calling him by his name, Rob or something like that.
Yeah, he's calling his name and yelling for him to come out.
Come on out! Come on out! And finally, the door opens, but a guy does not pop out. This badass-looking chick pops out.
Yeah, I kind of had okay, when I first saw her, so I actually have her name here.
Zenora. Zenora, that's right.
So she kind of has this Red Sonja pirate vibe.
Oh, I can so see that, yeah.
But I definitely like the armor.
Oh, it was so awesome.
And her facial features and stuff, it was
lots of detail on it, and I appreciate the outfit because it looked what I would assume that kind of time period would be, Arthur's time period would be, but in a futuristic kind of thing. She had steel-toed boots and stuff.
That's what I love though, because she had kind of a style of new and old, whereas Arthur, this dude looks straight out of medieval.
Right, straight out.
In fact, even the difference in the swords,
that's true,
Excalibur looked like a classic sword, but then her sword looked like a tech sword or something.
But yeah, she busts out of the one of the wagons, and she's just like, who are you, and who do you think you're talking to, kind of thing. And she is not about to stand for some guy coming in here trying to boss her around.
Well, Arthur also has to realize that while he considers himself a king, and while these few people do, this is a tiny village.
Yeah,
and he's got to have to realize that not everyone's going to play it fair, and he's going to have to be courteous to these people.
Oh, I agree.
In order to maintain at least some type of lifestyle.
But yeah, she does not take his approach very well, and she automatically just starts fighting him, and it makes some awesome pages. But
the one where she slashes right away, and then the back and forth is pretty awesome.
Yeah, they do some amazing fight scenes. And then, she ends up getting her whip out, and she's like, "Oh, I'm going to take it." And he's like, What? I think he's more surprised by her than anything. Because he's like, what's happening? And she ended up, like, disarming him
She
and
disarmed
getting him on the
him.
floor.
Yeah, she disarmed him and got him on the ground.
It was pretty good. I was like, oh my gosh. And then literally, to be continued. It's like, oh my gosh.
That last page is pretty amazing, though.
The last few pages, I'm like, oh, that battle scene, that's pretty cool.
And we actually have the other issues to this one. But we won't get into those.
No.
But,
I actually purposely didn't read them so I wouldn't give anything away.
But I love this last page, though.
Oh yeah, because she's literally got her foot like on his chest, like, oh, sword to his throat, like, oh, I've definitely defeated you. It's badass.
And he's like, magnificent.
Yeah, he's super impressed too. I'm telling you, I think he was more surprised than anything when that happened, and that's why he was so like taken, back by her, and it was like, oh, whoa, she's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Not just pretty good, but she didn't even break a sweat.
Oh yeah, she was making it happen. It was cool. I love when she busts that whip out.
So, what did you like about this?
I actually like the art style. The people's faces were super expressive. You could almost tell a lot what was going on with the scene just by their faces, and I thought that was just very impressive. The artist was able to do that.
I agree. Actually, I had that for later on, but I put the poses too. Like,
yeah,
there were some different ones, like the one where the second in command, like, oh, he's opening the door, and then there's one where the mayor's like sitting back, and I don't know, those were just kind of interesting.
They were, and it was very well done of how the artist was able to kind of describe what he was doing with just the poses he was doing it with, and I was actually really impressed by that. That's hard to do.
And I actually like the opening, like the 2 or 3 pages that just kind of told you what was going on.
Oh, definitely the backstory of what Earth was.
Yeah, it wasn't like overly detailed.
That's actually something I like too, because it really kind of helped you put into perspective of why it is the way it is now. Because you saw guns and things like that, it would have made no sense if any of that, kind of came into play. You'd be like, oh, well, how would they have guns in, medieval Arthur?
Right.
But it's like a whole different concept of that. I thought that was cool.
Definitely. I really liked that the legend of King Arthur became like a whole religion for this town.
Actually, I love that. Yeah, I thought it was really a different concept of. Honestly, the whole concept of story itself with using King Arthur, I thought it was a lot different using it in like a futuristic kind of time frame, even though you didn't really realize it was the future in a lot of senses.
Once it got to the main story, yeah, you couldn't tell basically until the vehicles kind of came into play.
And that's actually something I really liked about it, were the outfits and the vehicles and stuff. As the story progressed, a lot of the outfits started looking more old school, but then some of their tech looked definitely more futuristic, like with the vehicles, for instance, and the guns that they were using. And even like Zenora, she looked super like a futuristic steampunk kind of,
She had like a mosh podge of armor.
She did, and I really liked that. I thought that was a really cool concept.
The caravan vehicles were one of my favorites too.
Yeah, they were awesome. I thought the detail in them, even just that one page where you really see them all, I thought that was really well done. Yeah,
that was one of my favorites as well. I also loved. Well, we already talked about this one, but yeah, the armor of Zenora, and then the fight scene between her and Arthur.
Like I said, those were some of my favorite pages of the whole book. I thought that was so well done. And man, she was kicking butt. It was great to see.
And the coloring was so clean and just amazing. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, actually, that's something that I loved was the landscapes, especially in the beginning where it showed the progression of Earth building back up from the ruins that forced humans to.
Where it had the car like parked out from the convenience store,
and then you could see the vegetation like growing over. I thought that was so well done and so detailed. I thought that was really cool to see.
Yeah, I like that one a lot too. I thought the writing was pretty brilliant.
Like I said, I thought the story itself was just amazing because he really used something.
He also used kind of like a different way of like they spoke a little bit differently.
Oh, definitely. He definitely used a lot of like I would think medieval kind of terms and things like that, but put it in a way because sometimes I can't understand a lot of that terminology and things like that. But he did it in a way in like a modern time, and it was really really cleverly done. I really liked it.
Yeah, so I think that was well done, Martin, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, everything was super amazing. And like I said, one of my favorite things was definitely Zenora. She just looked amazing. She kicked butt. I mean, she really just came through that door and was just taking names. It was awesome.
And another thing too is I'm kind of looking forward to seeing like who he recruits into being part of his
Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah.
I hope it's not a square table in this universe. That'd be kind of weird.
Well, I think he even said round table.
I did. I don't know.
Maybe the mayor said that.
I'm just going with it because I like that so much.
All right, so that was awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that book. I'm definitely going to be reading the next couple of volumes here right after because, like I said, I didn't want to spoil anything for the show. But yeah, I'm really excited. It was a really fun read. Like I said, I really like the concept of it. You should definitely check this one out.
And we'll put Martin Piero and Cosmic Times info down below, so
sure.
Definitely hit them up. And he goes to a lot of conventions too. So
yes, and you should check them out then too.
Yeah, because on CosmicTimes.net you can find their convention schedule.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
you should definitely check that out.
Definitely. Yeah. All right, so Nick, members, you have anything else?
Nope, just make sure you check it out, and if you haven't already, subscribe to us.
And let him know Joshua Mammoth sent you. Actually, you don't have to let me know that I sent you, but you can let Martin know. All right, Syndicate members, between the known and the unknown lies the mammoth. I'll see you next time.